Are you vlogging right now, bro? It's
you
5:30
vlogging?
in the morning.
It is. Boarding.
Morning.
Where are we going?
Go to Salt Lake City.
Guess I can find out. Alright. I'm gonna do a time lapse here. So this is gonna be our last time. Yes. I was gonna say it's our last little video, so make it good.
Bless you.
Yeah, bless you. I meant to say bless you.
Less than 2 minutes.
Bro, I couldn't even film it because you were done before I looked over, bro. That's crazy.
They had like all the numbers filled in. It wasn't even fair. I gotta do the harder one. This is no aesthetic.
How you doing, Julia? What would your YAP score out of 5 be for your flight today?
It was 5, yeah, so it was good.
That's good, that's good. I would have given it probably like 3.9 to 4 yaps because we did have to wait on the tarmac a while before we took off. But other than that,
I waited a lot longer.
very cool. I'm thinking for a good shot here, move this stuff to the side. The lighting looks really good from this, so I think if we have this right there, and then I'll get this out of the way, then
It looks beautiful.
Really cool.
Yeah, it looks so good.
Okay.
Yeah.
But make sure you, well, now they're gonna be confused, so there's two of them.
Who's gonna be confused?
Y'all.
Y'all! Good evening, yappers or cruisers. My name is Julia, and today I am going to talk to you about what we're doing today. Here's my co-host, Noah.
They don't know my name yet on this YouTube channel.
This is Noah.
This may
Good evening, yappers and cruisers.
Welcome.
Welcome to the channel. If you're new here, welcome. If you're not new here, hello again.
Not welcome back.
Welcome back.
All right, so I wanted to show you guys our map here. I don't know what she's doing, but this is a map of where. Oh my goodness, what's this alarm? 5 postcards. We did. Yeah, we got some postcards from my mom. Anyway, so we are on vacation here, and we're currently in Salt Lake City. We flew down. You probably saw the flight down here. but you might not know what all we're doing. So today we're exploring Salt Lake City, Utah. Salt Lake City is known for being the origin and kind of like the
Does this qualify me to be a NASA astronaut?
yes, you are now qualified to be a NASA astronaut.
Or a ballerina, I don't know. I think I should be a Broadway ballerina, because if I could do this, I could spin.
So Salt Lake City, Utah is home to the Mormon religion, also called the Church of the Latter-day Saints. So the Mormon religion is an offshoot of Christianity, if you're not familiar. Neither Julia nor I are Mormon, but this is part of our tour. We want to learn more about our area, or this area. Anyway, so we're going to explore Salt Lake City, learn a little bit more about the Mormon religion, and see some of the cool architecture here. They have a couple of cool cathedrals and whatnot. After that, we're going to be going north to a place called Jackson, Wyoming. Jackson, Wyoming is known for being like an Old West style town. So there's a lot of like old buildings. You could imagine there's probably like a saloon, you know. I don't know that for sure, but that's where we're gonna get today.
We're gonna get a beer at a saloon.
I'm gonna need one after all dealing with you. Just kidding. But yeah, so we'll be driving from Salt Lake City to Jackson, Wyoming today. For the rest of the trip, we're going to go up to Yellowstone. We're going to go to Grand Tetons National Park. We're going to hit the states of Utah, which we're already in, Wyoming, Idaho, Montana, and before we leave, we're going to go up to part of Alberta. We're going to leave from Calgary in Canada, which apparently this whole region is also very beautiful. So we'll have a lot of cool scenery. I might include a little bit of history or some things that I've learned on this trip. So this is mostly just me sharing my trip with you guys. I know this isn't really my typical content, but I figured, you know, I didn't expect to have this opportunity this year. And I'm happy to share it with you. So if you enjoy, give it a like. If you don't enjoy it, comment below why you don't enjoy it. It's better for the analytics if you comment and not give a dislike. But anyway, and then don't worry, this isn't the only thing you can expect from this YouTube channel. I'll go back to the mostly automotive content in the future.
So anyway, while we're yapping, we also, Noah's parents bought us this little national park passport, yeah, and it has like a little map of all the national parks in it, but it also breaks it down into different regions where, well, I'll show you the one that we did. We've got Cuyahoga Falls.
Yeah, so Cuyahoga National Forest or National Park is in like northeastern Ohio, close to Cleveland. And that's kind of close-ish to where we live, but we live in Pennsylvania. But yeah, we visited Cuyahoga Falls, and Brandywine Falls is part of that.
Yeah. So we got a stamp, and then we get another little stamp. But so this is like the one section of the parks. This is the Midwest region, but the part that we're gonna be in is called the Rocky Mountain region. So we're gonna be from Utah all the way up to Montana.
Mm-hmm. That's cool. So we'll do little stamps for Yellowstone, Grand Tetons, and Glacier.
Yep.
All right. Love y'all.
Bye.
All right. Ready to head out. Thanks.
Good morning.
Yeah, that's a cup holder.
Put something in, it's just gonna fall. So I don't know.
I've used one before.
All right, can you all hear back there? Yes. We got like one notch, yeah. Hey, did you all get a chance to say good morning to our coach captain up here, Mr. Kevin Morgan? Good morning. All right, good morning, Kevin. We are so lucky to have this guy. He's just learned, Sharon and I, he has 6 million miles under his belt. It's a lot of miles. And he's been at this a while, so he knows what he's doing, knows where he's going, and he and I have worked together quite a few times over the years. I've been at this 32 years, he's been at it 50. So I think between the two of us, you got some experience. Where we're going from here, pretty much up to Waterton, he and I know every corner of the road inside and out. all the places, where to stop, not to stop, all the cool places, all that good stuff. As we're going to Canada, we know a lot of it, and a couple places will be new to us, but we'll take that as it goes. And heading up into Calgary. So this is great. All of you from the United States, it looks like. And Kevin lives down in this area, not far, and I live in Austin, Texas area, either Austin or Houston, between the two. And then we have a kind of a VIP on board, but she's very humble. And she's in the back, so Sharon, where you at? She's hiding back there. Sharon works for our company, for Cosmos, and she works directly in the office, and it's her job, which is one of the coolest jobs you can have, actually, because this is exciting. You know what she does? She comes on these buses and watches everything I do and reports to the office. No, I'm just kidding. No, she's actually one of the coolest to have on. I've actually had the CEO over the years, and all kind of very, very like bosses over. But no, she's really cool in that respects. She's a product manager, and what that means is she's the one that creates these tours. So she studies out the territories, where the places to go. She does her research on what's a great place to visit, what's not, distances between, can a motor coach go there, what's great for touring. There's a lot of logistics involved too. So she put together this tour. It's hers. Any Cosmos pretty much is hers, including the ones that operate in Canada. And so this is the very first departure ever of this tour running. So it's brand spanking new, and that's one reason that she's on it. And I'm one of the guiding tour directors, which means they send things to me and just ask for opinions. Ultimately, the decision is hers and the upper management in the company, but they do use my advice to kind of implement things and say, well, that's a good idea, maybe not a good idea. And so she sent this one to me like a couple of years ago, and on paper, and looked at it right away and said, you nailed it, like you knocked it out the park, just on the first read. So I'm really excited, and as soon as I read it, I talked to my other boss and says, hey, I want that on my group of tours that I do. I mean, who wouldn't want to go from Salt Lake City to Calgary, right? So, and not just that, everything in between. This tour is a highlight every single day. So Sharon, we'll save it to the end. You got to earn your work on this one. But I think you've done a great job, and I got to say, this is going to be a really, really good one. And so towards the end, let her know what you think. But like I said, we got some great stuff ahead of us. Even Kevin, I saw Kevin, 4 weeks ago? And didn't know what his schedule was. I says, hey, I got this really cool tour coming up, and your company does that trip. You want to do it? And he says, if I'm free. So I reached out to his company. They said, yeah, we can get him on it. So I got Kevin on this. So he's really excited too. So it'll be a lot of fun.
Way to go, Kevin.
And hope you guys have enough leg room.
Fantastic.
Absolutely. No, it worked out. So this is a very nice coach. Matter of fact, this coach is made in St. Clair, Quebec, Canada. That's where they build them. It's built by the Prévost Motor Coach Company, and their headquarters and their factory is in St. Clair, Quebec, just outside of Quebec City, about an hour. And it's where they build them. And Volvo has purchased Prévost. They own them, but they keep the Prévost name. A lot of you might watch those fancy RV TV shows or see NASCAR series, or the really high-end, super-duper $2-3 million motorhomes are all Prevost, these guys. Tiffin, there's a lot of other big builders out there too that are super expensive. But if you've got the money and you can go up to about $3.5 million, you'll buy a Prevost, which is one of these. And you will get the 600 horsepower. So you got the biggest engine. But what we have a Volvo engine. It's a diesel, a turbo diesel, and it's an inline 6-cylinder engine, and it's got 12.7 liters and 450 horses. So those 450 horses are going to get us from here up to Calgary. And so plenty of power, great coach, and experienced driver, so we're in good shape. And how many people live in Salt Lake City besides Kevin? Roughly about 1.4 million now, give or take, in the metro, and in the entire state, a little over 3.5 million. I love the name of this bar over here on the right. This is a nice little local bar right here to your right. Check out the name of it. X-Spice Place. But now, right now, Kevin's going to turn right on 400 South, and we're on 700 East. I love how Salt Lake City put together their numbering system.
Yeah.
Right? Can you get lost driving in Salt Lake City?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Even walking.
Even walking? Okay. Actually, it's pretty hard to get lost in Salt Lake City. The numbering system is incredible. Brigham Young, and I'll tell you more about his history a little later. Brigham Young didn't like names like Jefferson, Washington, Lincoln Street. He wanted numbers. Why do you want numbers? Because it was based on one thing, the location of the temple. So let's do this now. We're on 400 south and 800. What does that mean? We're 8 blocks east of the temple, 4 blocks south of it. So the numbers are going to increase as we're going this way, right? Heading towards the north. So if they're heading towards the east, I'm sorry. As the numbers are getting higher, that means you're getting what from the temple? Further. So now we're coming up on 900 east, but we're still 4 blocks south of it. So if we wanted to get to the temple, what would we do? We'd turn around until it got down to Temple Street, basically, or Main Street. And then you would want to cut up a little bit to where you're 100 in Temple, and you'd run right into the Temple Street, into the temple itself. The temple is under major renovation right now. We'll see as we head into downtown. But we're heading up to the university real fast. And to your left, this is Utah Tracks. This is a light rail system, very good system. That takes people from all around the city, South Jordan, up in now Ogden area. And it brings people all over downtown. There's different zones. And then this one comes up to the university. But here comes the stadium up here on the left-hand side. It's called Rice-Eccles Stadium. This is a football stadium. The letter U stands for Utah University. And what's their mascot? They're called the Utes. That's actually where Utah gets its name. Utah is named after the Ute Indian tribe, the Utes. When there was a controversy with all the teams naming their teams after Native American Indians, they reached out to the Utes and says, do you want us to change the name to something else? Or can we keep your name as what we would prefer? And they said, you keep our name, we love it. And they did. So the Utes are Maine. They don't have to change their name. And they're a pretty good football team. But what this was used for, besides football today, 2002, do you remember they had the Salt Lake Winter Olympic Games that took place? It took place here, Salt Lake City. Where else are the Winter Olympic Games taking place at? Oh, a place called Calgary. We're going to see that on the way in. Right? Anyone seen that movie called Cool Runnings?
Yeah.
Jamaica bobsled team?
Yeah.
Okay. I actually cried at the end when they picked up the sled and carried it across the finish line. That was so sad. But anyway, yeah, so here in the University of Utah, they had the opening ceremonies at the football stadium. They put in additional seating that held upwards of like, Kevin, what was it, 50,000? Yeah, I'm just double checking with Kevin on that. About 50,000 in attendance for that. And the tickets were upwards of 500 plus into the thousands. Here's a cauldron right here to your left, and the torch, you see it? It's right here. It says light the fire within. That was the theme for 2002, and that's it right here to your left-hand side. Right there. That tall-looking candle-looking thing right on the left. That's where the flame was lit. And then this was all open at the time. They just put this in now, and that's the football field you can see there to your left. There might be a little gap we can kind of look in on the left. Okay, but that's the famous football team. But an important part of history, you just missed it. You talk about traffic, closed off streets, reenactments. You missed one of the busiest, biggest holidays for Salt Lake City, the Pioneer Days. And it takes place July 24th every single year. Why July 24th? Because that's where Brigham Young and his top officials came over this mountain range right up here in front of us, the Wasatch Mountains. Came over that Immigrant Pass, placed his cane on the ground, looked out and saw the Great Salt Lake and the valley and said, this is it. We travel no more. This is the place. So that's called This Is a Place State Park, a little ways up ahead of us. And that's when he recognized the valley, saw it, and said, this is where we're going to set up and establish our land for living, agriculture, building. And this was it. So it was a huge important time during that. And that happened on, again, July 24th, 1847. And that's the result of basically from the Mormons, members of the church that moved from Nauvoo, Illinois back in 1846. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. So roughly within the next few years, 177,000 pioneers came into the Great Salt Lake. That's quite a few people. And so they established this, and actually it was Brigham Young that was made the governor of the Utah Territory. He was made the governor by former president at the time, James Polk. There was a war going on. You heard of the war called the Mexican-American War? 1846 to 1848. Members of the church, the Mormons, did take up arms and fought for the United States against Mexico. That was one of the reasons Brigham Young was made the governor of the territory. And he remained so until he died in the year 1877. So at the time, the members of the church, they were building their homes, building their farms, agriculture, and the city was growing. But there was another president a little later that was concerned that we had supplied them with weapons. They might become sovereign and create their own army. Former President Abraham Lincoln in 1864. Former President Abraham Lincoln decided to build an army fort here, and this is part of it right here in front of you. This looks like an army fort, doesn't it? Part of the structure. This is called Fort Douglas at the time. So this football stadium to your left, and part of old Fort Douglas, the reason they built that, the army, is they wanted to make sure that the members of the church that were already armed didn't take up arms to become sovereign and create a new type of country within a country or their own group. And they never did. They were very peaceful people. Matter of fact, Captain Patrick E. Connor, who was in charge of Fort Douglas at the time, was having dinner with Brigham Young. The two men got along very well and had great understandings and respect for each other. And jokingly one night, Captain Patrick E. Connor looked at Brigham Young and said, "Okay, now don't get out of control in any way because I've got a cannon pointed right at your house." And Brigham Young kind of laughed that one off. Now we're heading into more of what's called downtown. And to me, Salt Lake City is one of the cleanest cities I've ever seen. They really do go well out of their ways to keep the city clean and the streets and everything else. But we're going to turn off here pretty soon, back on over onto South Temple, because we want to point out to you some of the cool buildings, like the Masonic Temple, the two churches, including the Cathedral of the Madeleine. The Cathedral of the Madeleine is one of the most amazing buildings you're going to see. It looks to me like a little mini city, like Notre Dame in France. I was just there. I took my daughter for her 30th birthday back in June to Paris, and that was a big one for her. She'd never been to Paris, so we got to see Notre Dame. But this was like a mini version of it. It's really neat. What's also interesting, this is Temple Street. This is what went to the temple. This is where they had all of the mansions built, and these streets would have been cobblestone, not what it is today. And these green lampposts are still in place, but they would have been oil, so oil lamps. And a couple of these still have the original stepping stones. So this street was so wide, so a team of oxen could turn around, or your horse and carriage. So when you left downtown to come home, you had your beautiful, elegant, really ornate carriage, right? And the horses would pull your carriage. But when you got to your residence, the carriages were too high. You needed a step to step down. So this particular street still has some, and they're on the registry of state historical landmarks. The stepping stone itself, they're made out of sandstone. I'll point out a couple to you as we go along. Look at some of these buildings. This is all late to early 1900s. This Victorian right here to your left, that's beautiful. So another one here to your left now is a stepping stone right there, but that caterpillar is right kind of in front of it. And the governor's mansion will be coming up shortly over here on the right hand side. You'll see that stepping stone. Now there's one right here to your right. You'll see it coming up in front of this mansion. It's just right here. It's a block stone right here close to the road. Right here to your right. There it is. On your right. Do right now. See that stepping stone down there? For that mansion. That's on the registry, number 731. Okay, and then here comes the Masonic Temple over here on the left-hand side. Beautiful building. The governor's mansion's coming up on the right-hand side. This is it. Not this one, the red brick, but this one right here. See the carriage house to your right? That's where the carriage is. This is it. That's the governor's mansion to your right. And there's a stepping stone right down there to your right-hand side. See the cameras up there? Well, that's the current residence for the governor. All right, here's another stepping stone right here to your right-hand side too. This one's kind of a reddish color right here on the right. It's number 529 down here for this old mansion. So this is where the money was. this street. This is called South Temple. And here's the First Presbyterian Church off to your right-hand side, done in sandstone. They're working on that right now. But the Cathedral of the Madeleine is the one right next to it. Take a look. This beautiful building coming up on the right-hand side. Not this one. This is an old mansion. You're going to see it. Here it is, right here to your right. The Cathedral of the Madeleine. Trees are kind of blocking it a little bit, but that is a gorgeous building. As you see as we go past, you'll see more of it.
This is one of the ones that Mom sent me that she wanted to have a picture of. We don't have a picture, but we have a video.
Now look back to your right. You see more. Those nice stained glass windows. Now Brigham Young, when they first arrived, he didn't live right downtown yet. They needed to build his house. He lived initially on a farmhouse called This Is the Place State Park, and he lived there for a while until they built his first house. But we're going to ask Kevin if he doesn't mind if we can go down the West Temple and turn right, then up to the Capitol. And if Kevin can do that for us, we can show you one of the last original homes that everybody got to live in. When you moved here, you got a family, I don't care how many kids you had, you got this house. It was a cookie cutter home. And they were all over the place. And that's what they used because it was quick, easy to build. Now over here to your right hand side, I love this statue. It's an American bald eagle standing on top of a beehive. What does a beehive represent in Utah? Well, Utah is known as what state? The what state? The beehive state. So the beehive is very important to members of the church. It's basically the beehive. Bees are hard workers. They're industrious. They go out and work together and bring everything back to what? The hive, right? Same thing like the members of the church. Now, all of this is under renovation. This is the Joseph Smith Memorial Building. It's the old Utah Hotel. This is part of their headquarters to your right-hand side, and this building's under renovation. Many of our previous Cosmos tours, we would have our farewell dinner on the roof at the top of that building called the Roof Restaurant. Amazing buffet. And gorgeous building inside there too. I really enjoyed going there. But after COVID, they had an earthquake and it did some damage to some of the buildings, and they figured due to COVID closing everything down, they took the opportunity and they went ahead and just did a mega kind of like restructuring program. They lifted the temple slightly and went under it, and they put rollers and springs. So if an earthquake happens again, the building's not so rigid and has a little flex, so it doesn't bend and break, right? So it's basically, the technical name for that is Earthquake Rehabilitation Project. Sounds fancy, doesn't it? Okay, that's what they've been doing. And so this whole downtown section, this is Temple Square, is under major renovation. Temple, here to your right hand side, under major renovation. Just again, they're fixing it. That's one of the most beautiful buildings in the city. But right now, due to the construction, it's not much of anything. That's where they started construction of that. It took them 40 years, 1853 to 1893. Now we're going to turn right here, and in front of you, we're not going to go all the way down, but that's the Delta Center, the basketball stadium. Down there to the left, the arena. And to your left, that's the convention center. Do you see that round cylinder to your left with the glass? It's got like a round thing on top. That's a upside down salt shaker. So Morton Salt Company has a sponsorship to the convention center called the Salt Palace. The reason they put that salt shaker like that is Morton Salt Company gets most of all of its salt from where? The Great Salt Lake. So they're the big sponsor of it. Now up here off to your right, that's the tabernacle. The tabernacle is amazing. It's got that aluminum cover on the roof, and they have this organ pipe inside that if they're playing it, oh, it just goes right through you. It's unreal. This is a family search history center here to your left hand side for genealogy. But between the two buildings, as we progress up just a little bit, you're going to see one wooden building. It's a little log cabin is what it is. When you moved here, everybody got the exact same thing. That was it. The members of the church, they were really disciplined, structured to work and live well together, and they did. And this is what they got. You lived in this. And then eventually, as the town got bigger, more materials, they started building more larger homes, traditional homes, and different ones. And you'll see a little log cabin right there between the trees. That's what you got. 6 kids, get creative. Wrap them up, put them next to each other. Now, as we turn right here, this is North Temple. This gorgeous building in front of us is the conference center. This is where the longest continuously running, basically, choir still does their recordings, and it's the Mormon Tabernacle Choir. They have their recording that they do every single Sunday. One of the longest, oldest, continuously recordings in the United States. Inside there, they can accommodate comfortably 23,000 people, if need be 25,000. And what's great about that is when they designed that building, the top, the roof is very flat. The surrounding apartments, they didn't want the apartments looking at a ginormous 4-acre, because that's what it is, 4 acres. They didn't want them looking at a 4-acre roof, flat roof with air conditioners. So what did they do? They covered the air conditioning units and everything else and put in plants, trees, shrubs, walking paths, benches, picnic tables, waterfalls, and walking trails. So you can go up there. It's to anybody in the public. You don't have to be a member of the church. And there's a 4-acre park on the top of that building with waterfalls. You'll see waterfalls, a couple of them here. And you're looking at all greenery. So these people that live in the surrounding apartments are looking at a park, not a flat roof. See that up here to your left? Yep, there's you might see people up there now. The waterfall's turned off, but that waterfall is usually flowing. So it's a great idea. I love how they did that. Took 6 years to keep reapplying to become a state. Eventually in 1896. Why were they denied for 6 years? At the time, the practice of polygamy, plural marriage. They abolished it though, the church officially in 1890, and no longer use that at all. But who protects Capitol buildings in the United States? What entity of law enforcement protects them? The Capitols. You'd be surprised if you don't know the answer.
I would have thought National Guard.
National Guard? No. U.S. Marshals? No. Secret Service? No. Police? City Police? No. Highway Patrol. Every state's capital is protected by the state's Highway Patrol.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
So you're going to see the Utah Highway Patrol here, and on the side of their units will be the beehive, because that's the symbol for the state of Utah. All right, here it is to your left-hand side. Take a look at that. Again, 1912. Took 4 years to build. Completed in 1916.
That's very nice.
185-foot dome. That statue to your left that you see, made out of sandstone, that's a statue of the Mormon Battalion. He's taken up arms for the United States. And on the back, there's a statue of a lady holding her baby. I'm going to say her name. You're probably going to correct me, and that's okay, because I've heard it pronounced many different ways. Matter of fact, Lewis and Clark couldn't even pronounce her name. They called her Janie for the entire trip. But Sacagawea, Sacagawea. So however you say it. See, here's Utah Highway Patrol right here to your left. See? State Trooper. They are the ones that protect the Capitol buildings. There's an officer right there in front of us now.
Interesting elevator. Sorry. The main marble staircase here. I see. Wow. You think your 50mm could get a good picture of the ceiling? I know, I really wanted to walk over and get a picture from the corner, but I know. I'll be tired of the mountains by the end of it.
I know. That's what we said in North Carolina. We're like, oh my gosh, this looks so pretty. And then by day 2, I was like,
Well, it took me. Oh yeah, I guess it was only a couple days, but
The Transcontinental Railroad, and that was established basically in the east by the Irish. They did the labor that brought the train here to Utah. Then from the west was the Chinese. When they had the reenactment and the original photo done, when it actually happened, the two trains came together, the Transcontinental Railroad, on May 10th, 1869, at a place called Promontory Point, not far from here in the Promontory Mountains. In the photo, they didn't have any Chinese, and that was done at the time on purpose. And it was only the Irish workers. Well, that's not fair, because the Chinese had some of the toughest work going over the Sierra Nevada mountains trying to get the trains, the rails and tracks and everything to connect here, and they did. So Utah has placed these memorials all throughout the state honoring the over 11,000 Chinese workers who did the labor to get the train from San Francisco basically to here.
you want a picture?
And so those are dedications for that, for the Chinese workers. And they had many of the families come out and they did another reenactment, and they dressed up in their traditional wear that they would have worn in that time in the 1860s, and they redid another photo that they put in the Capitol recognizing the Irish labor from the east and the Chinese labor from the west. So it's nice they did that. So that's a new memorial there, if some of you were looking at that. But May 10, 1869, of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And I love the globe. If you look on the globe to your left, can you see the continent of Africa? The bottom of Africa, there's Madagascar, and then there's two little round rocks. See the two little small round rocks? That last round rock is where I'm from. It's called an island called Mauritius off the coast of South Africa. Only place the dodo bird ever lived. You may have heard of the dodo bird. Only ever existed in Mauritius. So my father's Mauritian, and so half my family's from Mauritius, and that's where it is, on the southeastern corner of South Africa out in the Indian Ocean. And my mom's actually British, believe it or not, and I was born in Salisbury, England. So I'm half British and half Mauritian, but on the American side, my heart's American. My stepfather, my mom married him when I was 2 years old. He was in the U.S. Air Force. So at 2 years old, when she married him, I ended up going to school on a U.S. Air Force base. So that's why I don't have a British accent. And we left there when I was 10 years old, ended up in Los Angeles, California, where my stepdad's from. And he was a jet engine mechanic for the Air Force. He redid the engines on the C-130s, basically the aerial tankers, those old Pratt & Whitneys. And then he went civilian, and he got his license converted to civilian as a mechanic. And he worked for United Airlines, working on the old DC-10s and 727s and what have you for United Airlines back in the day. So I'm basically a British and American citizen. Both. I have two passports on me, and became a citizen back in the year 2020. I became a U.S. citizen. It took me a while. Just the process is a little extensive. The cool part was the test, because you have to take this test. They give you this little booklet. You have to read and write English and answer questions, like history questions. I was so ready for the lady, because this is a person that can deny you. This is an officer in the immigration system that if you don't answer the questions correctly or say the wrong things, because they ask you strange questions, like she looked at me and says, "Why do you hate America?" I looked at her and said, "Why do you hate America?" I said, "I love this country and I'll die for it in a heartbeat." And she just looked at me like, okay. She didn't expect that one. And it was kind of a cool thing. She said, "I'm going to ask you some questions." And on the test, it says, "Can you name at least 3 Native American Indian tribes?" So she says, "Can you name 3 Native American Indian tribes?" Arapaho, Rickawa, Sioux, Lakota, Oglala. I just keep going for like 5 minutes. And she's finally like, "Stop." "Can you name an article of the Constitution?" "Yes, Article 13, this one, that." So I was ready for it. She's like, "Okay, you're done. You don't need to do anymore. We're good." And she signed me off. But I was like, "No, wait, I want some more. I studied for this." All right, we're about to hit over here on the interstate number 15, 1-5. Because it's got an odd number, 5. That means it runs north-south, right? If it's even number runs east-west. And this is going to take us up if we kept going up towards the Canadian border. So these are the Wasatch Mountains up to your right. There's a lot of companies out here mining for various types of rock used for everything from making countertops to landfill, decorative landscaping rocks, you name it. And there's a pretty big company, Staker, that's out here
I'm
doing
not
that.
sure if they were good or not.
So that's the Wasatch Range off to your right hand side. That's a sub-range of the Rocky Mountains. To your left, those are the Ochre Mountains to the left, further back to the left are the Ochre Mountains. And then just kind of like here to the left, a little further up, those are the Promontory Mountains. Okay, so this is all industrial. The freight trains, Union Pacific is the big player here. Body of water in the world behind Israel and Jordan's Dead Sea. This is the second saltiest. Some will debate that and say there's a small lake outside of Addis Ababa in Ethiopia that's even saltier. But that's up for debate. But for now, according to all the books and everything that you see, it really indicates this is the second saltiest body of water in the world. The Great Salt Lake has no outlet, and that water, that salt just accumulates. And it's pretty impressive. It's in terms of size, it's 78 miles long by 35 miles wide. Surprisingly, most people don't know this. Its deepest depth is only about 35 feet. Its average depth is about 8 feet. Okay, so that's pretty interesting about the Great Salt Lake. There's only one fish species that lives in the Great Salt Lake. That's only one. It's called the brine shrimp. Brine is another word for what? Salt. It's an extremely salty fish, shrimp. No one eats it. We don't use it for anything. No, I'm sorry, we do use it. But not for eating. There's a company called Hartz, H-A-R-T-Z, Hartz, and it's a pet food company. And they make pet products like flea collars and everything else. What they do is they go out there and they fish for the brine shrimp with little tiny nets. They take them and they crush them into little flakes, and they use that for tropical fish food. So Hart's company uses the brine shrimp. They grow lots and lots of Bing cherries. Oh. Yes, it's the season, June to about now. And you'll see the fruit stands and all the orchards and stuff down that road, Bing cherries. But I got one better for you. You ready for this? We're going to a place called Flathead Lake area, going up towards Polson and Big Fork in Montana. When Kevin takes us on that stretch, it's going to be nothing but Bing cherry orchards for about 35, 40 miles. And they're going to be everywhere. Now, last year, my driver and I, there was this big one that we stopped at because people wanted to buy some Bing cherries. And the lady came out and says, "Hey guys, I'm so glad you stopped." She says, "I've got baskets of these I want to give away because it's the end of the season. I don't want to go bad, they're fresh, and I've got so many. Just here, each take one." So she handed out these Bing cherries, a basket to each person. They were already washed, everything, ready to go. That was so nice, and we were so appreciative. We get going, and it's about an hour and a half from there to town. And we're cruising along. 45 minutes later, they went through their whole basket, ate the whole thing. And people are like, "Hey, how much longer till we stop?" I'm like, pretty soon. Okay, the faster the better. Bing cherries have some of the highest amounts of fiber per fruit. So we ended up getting to town. That was a mass exit off the bus. Box elders and Gamble oak. Through here in the fall, the colors are spectacular. The reason is, these are mostly all deciduous trees. So that means they're going to turn colors, their leaves, and they're going to drop their leaves.
So he said there's fencing along here.
Oh, I passed it, sorry.
It's to keep the deer off the highway. And he said every so many miles they put a little tunnel so the deer can cross.
That's cute. Little tiny section of fence, but I missed it. There's some more fencing.
Now this is a circular pivot system here to your right. It's actually springing right now. And these are the most efficient systems because they have those little hoses that hang down. They're low enough to the ground where you don't have to as much loss of evaporation. And they spin around. This one's probably a half circle, it looks like, but they have the ones that do a full 360. And the coverage of the way the water spreads is even in a perfect amount. So here to your right, that's the push line. And again, and those wheels have to go out. That's a little more maintenance involved in those, connecting those pipes, fixing them. And then down we'll see any flood irrigation system. We'll see that a little bit later on, where they flood the field, saturate it, and then drain the field. And that'll last about a week and a half. So. Any odds or ends you might want to pick up for the trip, you can pick up there. And then there's a Starbucks too. And those of you that have the mobile app, you can use a mobile app. You want the Smith's grocery store. There's a golf course here to your left hand side. Nice little golf course. You see with the cattails and all the different type of terrain and everything else, that type of grass. Whenever you play on that course, it is required you have to wear 2 pairs of socks. In case you get a hole in one. Members of the church. I'll get into that a little bit later. But basically, it's the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And today, the church president asked that we no longer say LDS for short, which is Latter-day Saints. He asked that we either say the full name, Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, or in short, you can just say the church. So out of respect, you'll hear me say a lot, the church. We have temples all around the world. In all my years of traveling, I'm very fortunate. I've covered most all parts of the planet. Every corner of Europe, I'm very fortunate in all my years. And even in remote places of the Amazon, in Puyo, Pastaza, Ecuador, and Amazonia, and to Manaus. In the Amazon, they have temples for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And you just never know. They're all over. So that's what those are for. So a little further up to the distance off to your right, you'll see the temple. That's a tabernacle to your right. Alright, and then as we turn right, coming up here just about the next 2 traffic lights, this was a pretty big to-do. When it opened, they actually had a parade. They closed the street. The mayor came out. They had a marching band. And it was a huge to-do. It was the opening of In-N-Out hamburgers. Seriously. They shut the street down and had a marching band.
I missed it.
And this is part of ancient Lake Bonneville off to your right. Drained away about 100,000 years ago. And had some nice homes out there. We're going to enter into the canyon. And we're going to take this canyon called Logan Canyon for about 40 minutes. Up to the top of the overlook, which will overlook a beautiful lake called Bear Lake. Stunning photos and pictures from up there. So as we get ready to go through this canyon, it's just absolutely beautiful. What's the difference between a canyon and a gorge? I get that a lot. A canyon, textbook definition, any land area carved out by water. A gorge, textbook definition, any land area carved out by water. They're one and the same. There's a difference though, and here it is. A canyon is wider than it is deep. A gorge is deeper than it is wide.
That's crazy.
Trying to get like a really amazing like white water picture.
Oh, good luck.
There's like a reflection right here. I think as the sun's up higher, it makes it harder.
So we're going up to about 6,200. As we get around the Jackson Hole area, we'll be about the same. And then our highest point on this trip will be about 9,000 feet in elevation above sea level. That'll be mostly the Yellowstone region. A lot of people think Glacier National Park and Waterton are really high because they're in the Rocky Mountains. Not really. It's the opposite. They're lower, 2,000 to 3,000 feet. And we'll talk about this later, but that's one reason the glaciers in the Grand Tetons are growing, and the glaciers at Glacier National Park are melting. Altitude difference. View above that second range of mountains out there to your right, that third tier, that's Wyoming. In front of you, that big sandbar way out in the distance down there, that's Idaho, and you're in Utah right now. So you can see 3 states from right here. Hey, the blue, that's what I'll tell you about as we leave. Okay, we're gonna head down to lunch now, just at the bottom of the hill. And this exact same color, that is just stunning. So the third tier of those mountains off to your right, part of the Wyoming range is Wyoming. And that's a timeshare. So here it is on the left, actually. So this is a timeshare by World Mark by Wyndham. Up to your left, Harbor Village. And then this is the marina here to your right, Bear Lake State Park. It's operated by what's called the DNR. That stands for Department of Natural Resources. It's probably going to look like another parking lot right here to the right.
Where there's graded is what I'm saying. That's all good to that.
I'm going to guess the parking lot here going into your right hand side. But the water level's up pretty good. Over the last few years, the level of the lake has receded quite a bit. And now it's come back up to these properties, which is great to see that. And we're still in the great state of Utah. We'll be coming into Idaho here shortly. And it'll be just the signs a little further up. It says, "Welcome to Idaho." So I'll point that out as we get close.
I don't know if you saw that there was some really cool stacked rocks. I wish I could have gotten a picture of it, so it would have been awesome. It's just really neat contrast.
So old Ephraim the grizzly bear, we're going to see a statue of him a little further up as we get into Mount Pillier. And he's chained up. And old Ephraim was a very hard bear to catch. From the early part of 1920s, the very first part of it, this bear was on a rampage. He was going around, and he was a very smart grizzly bear. Now, most brown bears here in North America, and that's excluding the Kodiak, that's found only in Alaska.
Yeah.
But the grizzly bear is known as a brown bear. The average males get up anywhere from 700 to 900 pounds. That's a big bear at about 900 pounds. How much did Ephraim get up to when they weighed him when he was killed?
1,000.
Very good, 1,230. 1,200 pounds. He was a big boy. He was smart. And the reason he got up to that size, the food choices were abundant. He took down lots of sheep, cattle, chickens, and he was eating aggressively. And he would only come out at night. They set traps all around this area. He was the last remaining grizzly bear to the area. And he had so much food from the farmers and ranchers, he would come out under the cover of darkness like stealth, take down sheep, carry it off, chickens, everything you can imagine. People were losing their livestock. They had hunting parties going out tracking them. Couldn't find them. The traps, he was able to get the food out of, for some that had food, and then some that didn't. And they camouflaged the traps, putting sticks and branches over them. He never went anywhere near it. It just happened though one day by Fran Clark's house, not far from here. Fran Clark had set about 5 traps around his house. And he was cooking something. Old Ephraim smelled that, decided to come near the property, just walking around, and stepped into one of those traps, didn't see it. Got him on the rear leg. It was stuck, chained. He couldn't go anywhere. The dog was barking like crazy. Fran Clark came out, saw it was this monstrous grizzly bear, and went and got his rifle, his high-powered rifle, about 4 or 5 shots to take it down. When the bear was killed, they took his hide, basically, and took him to be mounted, and then the rest of his carcass they took up the road and they buried him right off the main highway, and there's a big memorial there today. It says this is where Ephraim, the last remaining grizzly bear, lays. Here's Idaho right here on the right. There's a sign. Come up. Welcome to Idaho. Now the fur and everything they took as they had him mounted basically is up at the Natural History Museum in Boise, which is the capital. So if you want to see old Ephraim, you got to go to the Natural History Museum in Boise, Idaho. The people that live out here actually like snakes. Like myself, I'm a snake fan. I love snakes. Why do I love snakes? They're important to the ecosystem. Without snakes, if you think the pandemic of recent was something, you'd have even more disease. They cut down on disease by killing the small mice and rodents and rats and everything else. They are the ones that spread what? Disease. They pull those herds, those populations, and they keep the environment healthy. So they have a role to play. Here's Ephraim, the grizzly bear that was captured. See, there's a statue on the right, caught in this trap right there. Old Ephraim. Okay, so here to your left is the two-story bank that was robbed. It was the old San Miguel, but today it's called Zion's Bank. And then look up here to your left. They're so proud of it. The sign says historical site. Right there, bank robbers. There's a picture of Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid. On August 13th, 1896, that bank was robbed by the two outlaws, and they stole 16,400, whatever it is, of gold, currency, and silver. Got on the train, and then again, when the train stopped to let them off, there was a fresh team of horses. They took off, and then they got about 10 miles away, and then there was another team there that was waiting by a group that was helping them, and they got on those fresh ponies, left the old ones, and they took off. And as they took off, they left behind several gold coins, dollar pieces, or what have you. That was a lot of money to some of those people. That's why they helped them. By having fresh horses on these relay systems, they could outrun the what? The law. Eventually the lawman's horses are going to slow down. They were exhausted. You are. But to the left of it, this is brand new. Now, you and I could go in this, and unless you're a member of the church, would recommend. And I don't know if you are or if you're not. If you are, then you know you can go into it. But if you're not, you can't, except one condition. When they have the dedication and it's opening, and it's brand new for 2 weeks, they allow us like an open house for people to go in and see it. And then what they do is after 2 weeks, they close it for several weeks. They take out the flooring, everything, and make it back to re-purify it to the way it should be. And they do that.
It's like if Julia were cleaning the house.
Basically, because the U.S. bought all that for $15 million. They just built a grocery store by my house. Just a grocery store for $23 million. One store. We bought the States. Oh wow, there's a lot of red flowers. If you saw back to your right, some reddish colored tips on those flowers. That's the state flower of the state of Wyoming. It's called Indian paintbrush. And the little red tips, Indian paintbrush. This yellow stuff you're seeing up here to your right and to your left, this is a yellow bush. That's a sage, and that's called rabbit brush. Rabbit brush. If any of you are sneezing, and I'm starting to, it's that stuff and the pollen from the trees. Rabbit brush, that produces a lot of pollen. Okay, we got some cattle down here, but you notice there's no fencing, so we're in open range territory. I saw the sign a little ways back. Those cows can come up here on the roadway at any time, so we got to be careful and make sure we look at those signs. It says open range, loose stock. Yeah, this is all rabbit brush along down through here. The majority of the trees are aspens and junipers and some fir trees as well, and yellow pine. There was about 6 different companies that came through, and they usually on horseback, and they had catalogs, and they would give you a catalog, and you would order from these catalogs, and then they would take your order, you would fill out the form, they would take that form, and then they eventually made it back to Independence or St. Joseph, Missouri. Then they would turn in the forms, and they would order from Illinois, from companies like Sears and Roebuck and everything else. They would come in on the freight wagons. There would be cast iron bathtubs to iron potbelly stoves, mirrors, hairbrushes, things that you couldn't get out here. And then they had the freight wagons coming through on the trail. And when they came through, they got to where you were, and they would come up and say, here's your cast iron bathtub. And then they would do what? Charge you for it. You had to pay cash on delivery, COD. And that's how they got to receive many of their things. A lot of these towns that were springing up, what's the first thing they ordered? It was a moneymaker. Cast iron bathtubs. They typically can only afford one. If they could, they would order two. They would put up a shed, and to give you the privacy and everything. And then the pioneers coming through these tiny little towns, if they saw the signs that said bathhouses, they would have signs saying hot luxury bath, soap included, 50 cents, right? And you would think, oh, that's wonderful. You were hot, tired, you just wanted a nice, relaxing bath. So you paid your 50 cents to take that nice 30-minute bath. And they had a timer. After 30 minutes, you were getting out. But you didn't drain the water. They told you not to. So when you got out, the person that couldn't afford 50 cents would pay 25 cents for a second-hand bath. Lukewarm water, dirty, but you know what? It was still somewhat luxury, and you still got clean. Then when you were done, they drained the water. So you'll see signs in some of these old towns, like Virginia City, where we're going to, that say bathhouses, 50 cents new, 25 cent used, or second-hand bath. When you were homesteading or you were coming out here to find land and you wanted to build, nature was your realtor. You didn't have a little billboard saying, call this number for a realtor that knows everything about the land. The land told you everything you needed to know. That sage was a perfect indicator on where you would build your house. Why is that? Snow. Sage, when the snow falls, it'll die if it gets covered completely by the snow. So it pushes up to where the top part of it can get the sun and doesn't kill it, right? So if you see sage that's almost as high as the windows on this bus, and a little higher, what does that tell you? That's how high the snow gets. So I wouldn't build my house there. I'd build it where the sage is very low. Help you out. Alright, round on the corner, there's a sign that says, welcome to the great state of Wyoming. Now, Wyoming does have a name. We know what it means. It's a Cheyenne Native American Indian word, and it translates to large prairie place. Wyoming, large prairie place, Cheyenne Indian word. Speaking of Cheyenne Indians, Cheyenne is the capital of the great state of Wyoming.
I was thinking about it earlier, and I think for at least part of this, my finger was over the microphone, at least on the right side. So I'm hoping the audio is okay, but I'm not holding my breath.
Yes, I'm playing Mario Kart. That's so wrong.
It would only be wrong if you weren't in first. But you're always in first, so you're good.
So that's a temple of Afton. This is the town of Afton. And then there's going to be a little company coming up on the left, part of the airport. It's a local company called Aviat. They make bush planes, aircraft. And they're the ones that are tail draggers. They have the larger front wheels. A little bit more complex systems to them. And they usually fly those in like areas like Alaska, up here in the mountains where they can land on sandbars on the river, along lakes, grass runways. But you'll see their planes. They make some really good aircraft called Aviat. Me personally, I do have my pilot's license. I'm a single engine pilot, so I can only fly planes with single engines. And I usually like Cessnas, but I couldn't even fly this thing. Its tail dragger's different. But take a look at these guys. Really cool airplanes right there to your left. Made by this company called Aviat. See how the front wheels are much larger? And they can land on short distances compared to like Cessnas, need about at least 1,500, 3,000 feet of runway. Up here in front of us, this is the world's largest elk antler arch. It is featured in a lot of travel magazines. You'll be able to take and programs. This Star Valley in the town of Afton was put on the map during the 1996 Atlanta Olympics. And that's because of one young man by the name of Rulon Gardner. Rulon Gardner won. I don't know the specifics of it, but he did. Took the gold medal. He was so excited, this humble kid from Wyoming ended up doing cartwheels on the stage at the Olympics in Atlanta. He ended up going on that TV show back in 2014. Anyone heard that TV show called The Biggest Loser? He was on that show. He had lost so much weight because he was very competitive, dropping the weight that the producers were like, there's no way he's going to hit the goal. And turns out he was on pace to hit that goal. The show was getting his highest ratings ever. And then the producers changed the contract on how much money he would win. When they did that, he backed out of the show, threatened taking him to court, and he ended up leaving the show. Everybody was shocked, like, why did he quit? And then it turns out they found out why. He ended up winning the lawsuit. They had to pay him, and he would have won that episode, or that show, The Biggest Loser. So a great kid, very humble. So we're getting close to the Snake River, and we'll run along it for a little stretch until we start coming into Jackson Hole. But now it's tricky. Is it Jackson or is it Jackson Hole? And I still call it Jackson Hole. They changed the name years ago, the city council, to just Jackson, hoping that the property values would remain higher. They thought Hole was not a good name. Hole just means valley in cowboy talk. When they came up the mountains and saw a valley, they called it a hole, Jackson Hole. It was mountain man trapper Davy Jackson that came over the mountain pass in the late 1800s, pulling a wagon with mules. When he got down to the bottom, they said, "Fella, you're crazy pulling a wagon down this, down that mountain, down into this hole." They said, "Yeah, well, I got it done." They said, "What's your name?" "I'm Davy Jackson." Then they said, "What's the name of this town?" They said, "Doesn't have one. But being that you pulled a wagon over it, we'll name it after you." So Jackson's Hole. So that's where the name comes from. Some people think Andrew Jackson, but no, it's mountain man trapper trader Davy Jackson. And Alpine is a cute community. It's where a lot of people live that work in Jackson, because in Jackson, apartments are astronomically expensive. Housing is super duper expensive. The average median cost of a home now is like 1.1 million in Jackson. So a lot of folks that live here
Drop in a bucket.
and deal with the 45-minute drive into Jackson. So about to cross the Snake River, and it's pretty much flowing towards Idaho. And through Idaho, it's a tributary of the mighty Columbia. It will team up with the Columbia River and then make its way into the Pacific Ocean, about 15 miles north of Portland, Oregon. Along here, keep your eyes peeled, looking at the tips of the tops of the trees. Look for a white baseball. That'd be an American bald eagle, or a big, very large golf ball. And they love the tips, the tops of the trees, the dead trees. Sometimes we see the nests of osprey nests up along here as well. And this is a great fishing spot for the birds, eagles and the ospreys mostly. I'd say we're about 35 minutes, give or take. No more, about 4-ish, until we get close to the hotel, close to coming into town.
Is that a Schrodinger's question?
What'd you say?
I said, is that a Schrodinger's question?
Because I was asking about doing a 3-month motorcycle journey. And then I said...
And I said, and he's like, oh, haha, just kidding.
It might have been a Schrodinger's question.
It was.
Maybe.
Okay.
Right, there's the whitewater rafting down to your right. Do you see them? So they all have the helmets on. That's the whitewater section. So this river starts from the snowmelt pretty much up in the Teton Range, and this river runs about 36 miles in length until it teams up with the Columbia. Again, it's a tributary of the Columbia. Then the Columbia will outflow into Pacific Ocean. We're going to see lots of rivers on this trip, some really cool rivers. And as we go into Yellowstone, we're going to cross over the Continental Divide about 3 times. Same thing in Glacier National Park too. And those waters separate and either go to the Pacific or the Atlantic. So they're going to go to the Pacific via the Snake River in Columbia, or the Atlantic via the Yellowstone, Missouri, Mississippi, through that stretch into the Gulf of Mexico, just outside of New Orleans. What's the longest river in the United States? A lot of people say Mississippi. Well, that's really got to research that one. It's actually the mighty Missouri. And here's the thing. The mighty Missouri only beats the Mississippi by like 2 miles. So very close. Yep. Alright, what about the western United States? A lot of people think it's Colorado at 1,450 miles, but no, this one's a little bit longer at 1,610. The mighty Rio Grande. Runs from Silverton, Colorado, and outflows along the Gulf of Mexico and the Texas border. So Rio Grande. Okay, as we cruise along this section, you might be noticing there's no houses or buildings or hotels. If you're wondering that, that's because in Wyoming they do the greatest thing with the land. It's a mixed-use land. And how that works is they designate along the river sections wilderness lands, which means nothing can be built. The lands have to remain in a wilderness state for the animals, birds, and the environment. And this stretch is a wilderness stretch. It's about 16 miles, so you won't have any buildings. A little bit further up, we're going to start seeing buildings, and the homes are built right up onto the river banks. And you know you're out of that. There's a very famous celebrity in town, and people love him. He's super nice, but here, sort of like a benevolence towards him by the people in regards like he's a celebrity, but they leave him be. People don't go up to him and say, "Can I have your picture?" They let him live his life, let him enjoy his meal, don't bother him, smile or say, "Hey, how's it going?" And that's about it. They understand that he's a human and just needs a space too. Who would that be? Who was the main character in Indiana Jones?
Harrison Ford.
Harrison Ford, correct. He has a 35-acre stretch of land right along the Snake River. And the section that he's on, that huge amount of acreage, is technically not wilderness. He could have built his property right up and cleared all the trees to the river and had his front porch or balcony overlooking the Snake River. When he bought that parcel of land, he loved the idea of it being nature, the trees protecting his house for privacy that sets way back in. And what he did was he took 13 of those acres, 13 of those 35 acres, and went to the city and whoever's in charge of that, and he basically said, "I'm going to change this on the deed and on the land and all that to where no matter what, when I pass the land down to my children, they cannot reverse this. And I want it to remain wilderness, so they can't clear the trees, they can't build right up to the river. So when you all are rafting tomorrow, there's a stretch where you could have had a house or buildings or something, but he made sure it remains wilderness for everybody to enjoy." It's a different type of money in Jackson. You'll be walking around billionaires and millionaires, you wouldn't even know it. There's a couple of guys in town that are billionaires, and they drive Ram pickup trucks, Chevy Suburbans, not Ferraris, not Range Rovers. Nothing wrong with those, they're great cars. But here it's just a different type of money that you would never know. Jeans, flannel shirts, cowboy boots, hats, just real outgoing, very friendly. Idaho's only about 20 minutes to the left over that mountain. That's where, if you remember the news, that mountain that slid down where the highway went over, that's where it was. To the left are workers and townspeople getting off work heading out of town. There are not many folks that work in Jackson that live in Jackson. It's just super expensive. So some of the ski runs up there to your right. This building to your right hand side, that's not an apartment, that's not a hotel. You notice it doesn't say much of anything. The city had to build that. That's for employee housing, and it's low cost employee housing, because here in Jackson, you know where most of the employees live, and it was becoming a problem? In their cars. This is it. You know, because there's a square and you got the elk antlers, the arch right here. They have a horse wagon that takes people around, and take a look to your left. That's the famous $1 Million Cowboy Bar right there. That's it. So here to your right, Roosevelt's. All right, and then you got Mary Piglet's. This is a local's favorite right here.
So in
Good job, you! You! But just so you know, Bruce Cassidy, that's his outfit. Oh, Will Carver. I can sense it in my belly button.
Well, asking ye shall receive. Will Carver, at your service. Now, Butch sent me here to keep you distracted, Sheriff, so I'm here to challenge you to a shootout right here in the square. How about it?
Yeah, whoa! I'm your Uncle Tall One. You're not with the spit I used to clean my gun with, you Clint Eastwood wannabe.
Oh, those strong words coming from you, Sheriff. You slimy piece of dirt.
Oh, is that right? You scum sucking kid!
You son of a motherless dope.
They're gonna stop like a dog!
In your dreams, Marshal Moonshine.
Oh, you kiss your first cousin with that mouth?
Well, my horse of yours is probably getting pretty tired from carrying all of you, because you're heavy.
Oh, is that right? That's right. Talking about my weight. Just wait till I get your mama in the saddle.
Hey, out of this.
Yeah.
Hey, right
Hey,
here,
farmers
right now.
still like that.
Rex your back. Here we go.
All right. Give me some. Yeah, give me some. I'm so close to retirement too.
Oh, I'm sorry, Sheriff. You ain't going on. Everything was kind of turned around.
Oh, look, Garner. Hey, I need you to do something for me.
What's up?
I need you to get a bale of hay for your mama to eat. Gotta keep the cows well fed.
I shut the Sheriff. That's what they call me, but a pretty thing like yourself can call me anytime. I deserve that. I deserve that one too. Look, Ashton Kutcher!
Attaboy, Will. Oh! Whoa!
Oh my gosh, everyone focus on the balcony!
Now, unless you want to go to that big OK corral in the sky, I suggest you reach for the clouds.
I tell you something, Butch. What do you say we take the money we get from Wells Fargo?
Yes.
And we take this route out to Moose for a vanilla ice cream.
How about it? Now, Johnny, as much as me and the Butch Cassidy fan club up here like that idea, don't you know there are plenty of better ways to spend a bank's vault worth of money? Do you have any idea how much I owe in student loans? Don't laugh at the serious problem. Will, you get him out of there!
Yes, Butch. I love you, Butch.
I love you, Will. I hope that lasts. Everyone in the jailbreak! Now, I could just gun you down right here, Deputy, but these folks came to see a show, didn't y'all? So what do you say we make this a little bit more exciting? Your best against our best. Mano y mano. No gun.
Well, if you're looking for the best, that's going to be me, Butch Cassidy.
All right, Johnny. Don't you mess this up now. All right, hand club.
Pardon me. don't mind me. I gotta go shoot somebody. Excuse me, don't mind me, don't mind me.
Now, Johnny, you won, right?
I'm afraid I did not.
Oh, why would you do that?
But I'll tell you what, next time, we'll get him. We'll get him next time.
Are you sure?
I would say so.
Are you positive?
That's right. I'll make you proud, boss.
Feeling good?
Yeah.
I took care of that.
Okay, I got it. I got it.
Come on.
Ready to mouth the mouth?
No.
Yeah!
No.
That's a good kind of show. Yeah, he's dying! You high-falutin, long-haired son of a traitor. What? Let's get him.
Okay. I can get it. Okay. Plan B.